Hello, welcome to the Unsworn Game. I'm your host, Rob. I'm joined by my co-host, Owen, for the Age of Sigmar Stats Centre. Welcome to the show. Owen, how are you?
I'm great, yeah. I had to remind myself it was Monday today, you know, when you're in that Christmas vibe and
You
every
got
day
no
is
idea
just,
what day it is. Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
festive day. So, I was like, I actually arranged a game for this morning and then I had to cancel it because I was like, fuck, I've got to do some work for this show. So, I'm actually playing Stuart the Gutsman after this.
Nice.
In a couple of hours, we're going to throw down. I'm going to feel the wrath of his guts. So yeah, I'm good. I'm excited.
What are you
Having
playing
a lovely
with?
time. I'm not sure yet. I might
Ooh.
play with Sylvaneth.
Oh, sure.
I'm feeling like the king of Warhammer because I won one game with them last week. So I'm like, yes, I'll take on all comers. Let's go with the 9 hunters.
Well, yeah, Scott B says, all right, I just want to give you what day it is. Yes, it is Monday. Congratulations, everyone, which means we will be live tonight for the Honest War Game on Monday show. We'll be doing a review of 2020. So it'll be bleak and I think full of Tiger King memes. I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to it. But me and Owen, with no events obviously happening over the Christmas period, but some events that have occurred before and some to come is what we're going to do. And we're also going to do something new. We've never done this before, so this is our first crack at it. We are going to do our 2020. We're going to do an award ceremony. Not quite as pomp as the App Award. Those guys too fancy, really. But we're going to give out some of our top picks from the year 2020 for like command traits, spells, etc., etc. So start writing yourself some stuff in your list now, and I'd like to know what you guys think. I'll give you the categories actually, if you guys want to start writing them at home for yourselves or while you're watching live. So it's our top army list, our top command abilities, our top spells, command traits, artifacts, and war scroll abilities. So those are what we've chosen. So get your eye on the prize for those. Owen, have you been keeping okay? You good? You're everything
Yeah,
good?
yeah, just, keeping all the doors and windows locked, keeping the cold out, having the fire on,
Mm-hmm.
eating lots of food. Yeah, it's been nice watching some films, just being pretty damn festive. Did a bit of hobby actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I just
Nice.
kind of
What,
thought
what
to
hobby
myself,
did you do?
well, I've got loads of stuff that just needs building and painting, so I thought, don't buy any more. So I'm building some more Mortek Guard with spears,
Nice.
baby.
With
40 with
spears. What
40
world are
with
you in?
spears in Petrifex, I'm thinking. +1
Ooh.
attack, fighting in 3 ranks.
+1
And
rend.
they look rad with spears. They look so much better with spears than with swords. So I
Yeah, you
thought,
never see him with spears, do you?
no, I think JP used to run 20 spears, 20 swords, but it was kind of like, this is what I've got. Whereas I
Yeah.
actually think if you're taking a 40 block, fighting in those ranks, they're easier to free if they get tagged. So yeah, Anna and I have been sat on the kitchen table, and she's been doing a bit of her craft. We've been having, right, Rob,
Yeah.
my brother came up with this today. Crafternoons, crafternoons.
Nice. Crafternoons are a great little hobby. Yeah, do you
Yeah.
want a bit of a
So
crafternoon? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So she's been cutting out little bits of Japanese paper and making bunting, and I've
Mhm.
been creating unkillable death warriors. So yeah, it's been a great time. It's been had by all.
Basically the same, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Um,
How about
right,
you? You
well,
good? You happy?
yeah,
You
really good.
jolly?
Thank you. I feel a bit rested after the Christmas period. The Christmas period is a bit long. Still felt quite tired yesterday, but I think I'm back on form today. Very excited for 2 shows today. Love this show on a Monday. Love Monday show. We're moving into Tuesday, so excited about that. So yeah, generally all hype. Yeah, I mean, I printed out 2 buildings. That's fun. Got some more on the go. Doing some hobby as well. So planning some stuff for next year. Generally, very exciting times. So just ticking stuff over. So yeah, really happy. Love what I do for work. So it's basically the happiest I can be. Is when
Should
I'm
we
yeah.
high five each other through the screen? Let's just do that.
Bosh.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I would love to see other people,
yeah,
anyone.
yeah.
But yeah. So let's go. Let's talk about this. So what we got in the pipeline, Owen?
Well, I was chatting earlier to a couple of people on Discord, and they said, "Oh, if you haven't got any events to talk about necessarily, then there was one that happened on the 13th of December, which we haven't talked about, still relevant, sort of in real life." So I know that we've got quite a few bits to talk about with our sort of end of year stuff. So I'll just skim over a few things. I've got
Please do.
one to talk about, and then a couple of upcoming events to talk about. So
Did I
I
say
can
thank
share.
you to Winner Dave for subscribing? I think I did. But I just want to say thanks again. Thanks again. Sorry, Owen, you carry on. I'm just.
Oh, you're good. You're good. So I'm going to just share my screen if that works for
Uh,
you.
yes, you can show it to me, but I don't know if I can show it to the screen. To the screen. Yeah, try that. Show it to me, and then I'll do some stuff.
It's just a Word document with
Okay,
some
no,
lists on it. I'm not
it's
sure
okay.
if.
I can do this. I can do this. 1
So
second.
yeah, I'll ramble, which is one of my special skills. So this was in a place called Geelong, which is near Melbourne, just round the bay from Melbourne. It's on the 13th of December, 20 player event. Mixture, quite a lot of usual, lot of destruction. I think those Aussie war gamers, they really do love a destruction list. Yeah, 20 players, and just to give you the results, in first place was a gentleman, Tyson Gleason, with a Seraphon Fangs of Sotek list. Very much what you'd expect to see. 80 skinks, 2 star priests, 2 skink priests, croak, an astrolith, and 3 salamanders with some bound spells. So basically, pretty much, we'll cover it later, I'm sure, but pretty much one of the lists of 2020.
Yeah.
In second place, I think he must get a mention in every show as we go through, but Stuart McCowan with his Winterbite Ogres, 20 Iron Guts. This is the kind of classic one, so the Fire Belly with the spell. Yeah, we've talked about that a lot, so I won't. But then in third place, Michael Clark with the Sons of Bahamut list.
Bastard. Trying to make me look bad, isn't he?
Take a tribe. He's got a Kraken Eater Mega Gargant with the strong right foot. So he's got the 3d6 kick. He's got the special sandals that do lots of damage.
Minus
and then
3 rend, damage 3 on the Kraken
damage
sandals.
flat 3, yeah, and an extra attack as well. So pretty spicy. 2 Gate Breakers and then a unit of 3 Man Crushers. So
It's
I had a very...
interesting. Sorry, go on, you go.
No, please tell me.
I was just going to say it's interesting the inclusion of the gate breakers because actually initially they don't seem to bring anything. Like you feel like you're going to go for stompers because you want all the extra damage, right? So then obviously you look at the war stomper, but then ultimately no one takes that because it lends the least. So most people go taker to try and win the events. But then you think, okay, well the gate breakers literally bring nothing to the whole fucking conversation apart from actually there's the guys with the most output, which is why you see them in there. They've got significant output compared to everything else in the book, and I think it doesn't really degrade as time goes on. So you do have to do all the damage, otherwise you're taking a big slap back every time. So it's kind of interesting because you want to get rid of the Kraken Eater maybe or the Man Crushers, but the first 2 threats that you deal with are the 2 things that are least important in the list ultimately. So it's quite an interest. It's quite interesting because you see gatebreakers in most of the lists now, I think.
Yeah, I think that that nice shot that they've got, that flat damage 4 shot is really nice for picking off, helping to pick off heroes and things. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Gargant aesthetic. And I kind of thought this. I've looked at it, and basically you've got he's pumped up the stomps and he's pumped up the kicks, and they're partially clothed, so it's kind of like a toddler meltdown list. They're basically just like ah. So you've got, because they're smashing things up and they're kicking things. He's got the strong right foot, so he's got the 3d6 kick, which is nice. And then I think really and truly in Take a Tribe, he's got the 3 megas who count as 30 models, and then that unit of 3 Man Crushers counts as 45 models when they're at full strength. So he's got those 4 centers of power. Yeah, I think it's solid. And like you alluded to, the Kraken Skin Sandals makes that Kraken Eater have quite a reasonable amount of output. So, and I think he's trying to farm those triumphs. He's 50 points down and he's not bought a CP, so he definitely wants a triumph there. And then every time they kill a leader with an artifact of power, they get another triumph. And those triumphs are super impactful, aren't they, for the Gargants?
Especially on the Gargants. So if you can get reroll saves on the Gargants, like that would be that's the only reason really. Like, so there's the damage and then there's the wicked artifact that you find obviously in Stompers for reroll saves. But if you can just get that from a triumph anyway and then get all the other bonus points for being in Take a Tribe, it makes a load of sense. And even the reroll hits, or the reroll, any of it really, like they're 3s and 3s most of the time, so they could really do with like, they could just, So it's good.
Fair play.
Yeah. I wonder about the battle plans. I don't think you have that information, so that's fine. I just always wonder about the battle plans and how they've affected, especially with Gargants, right, in the future. Like, what's going to happen?
I know they played Scorched Earth. I do know that much.
Okay.
And I think he might have rolled over some Bone Reapers on Scorched Earth. But yeah, I don't have all the in depth. There's just a little nod to that. But I think there were some players in note in there. You had Stuart playing, you had Arthur, who did really well recently in the Butcher tournament. I think Smorgan was there.
Oh, nice.
There was a list with a shitload of Alapexes. So yeah, good on them. Here we go. Stuart, Scorched Earth, Focal Points, and Total Conquest.
So Focal Points is an auto win.
Yeah.
And then Total Conquest seems interesting. So yeah, that's the one. That's the thing. Focal Points, I just think is just. Anyway.
And total Conquest, extra point for a hero. So if they take it off somebody, they get in the flat, nice the nice 3 points. So yeah, I think maybe a couple of favourable missions, but yeah, good on Michael for getting third.
I think Clarkey might have run a world record on points scored on Focal Points. He's just crazy, absolutely crazy. What can you score? You can score 3, 6. You can score 8. And then if you bonus it up with all 5, if you have all 5 with giants, you can get 13 a turn. Yeah.
Shit mission.
Shit. Terrible mission. It used to be so good. So sad.
Yeah, so that was the one day in Geelong. So
Geelong.
Looks like a lovely place actually. Lots of like a nice harbour and things. I haven't got a lot of information.
Oh, I think we just lost Owen for a second. But don't worry. You just calm down, Owen, if you do hear me at all. Might be my internet. So we'll just try and slow the pace. Could be you. You know, Anna could be downloading all sorts. You are back now, Owen. Welcome back to the show.
Woof. Sorry, I'll do the joke again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Sorry.
It sounds like renamed Toddler Conquest if they are behaving like children. I'm sorry again.
So, upcoming events, we've got Simon Hall, who continues to put on lots of events. So he moved from Simon's Southern Scrap. He's now doing an event called GoldCon, which is in a place called Nerang in Queensland. So this is Simon, obviously friend of the show. He's got 54 players already signed up, and he just has 10 tickets left. So I'm going to put a link in the chat to the Facebook page. I think he's running it through. So that's coming up on Australia Day weekend, so 23rd, 24th of Jan.
That's normally when CanCon would be.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Yeah. So they normally do it Australia Day weekend. So yeah, and I think the guys in Adelaide, Canberra, not Canberra. I think Canberra are doing something there as well. And I'm not sure if New South Wales and Queensland are allowing travel between them right now. But either way, there's a couple of events happening over that weekend, which is fun. But Simon's a top bloke. Everyone attending will be a top bloke. All the Queenslanders are great. So like definitely an event to go to. And we'll obviously be talking about the results on the show. One of the few places events results will be coming out from for the next couple of months at least. So.
Yes, I think so. Yes. Moving swiftly on, but whilst the rest of us are all locked up, then we have as we should be. Exactly. Yeah, wear a mask.
Not because of COVID. We're just a bunch of bastards. Australia really got it reversed now, haven't they? Like the rest of the world are like we're locked in, and then Australia are like. We remember that from a few hundred years ago, but we've fucking cracked it now. Yeah,
yeah, the worm has turned, baby. Look at us now.
You're the comics now.
So the only other thing I've got to talk about is my little event, the weekend. So yeah, we're up to 36 players for the Fat Middle, so TTS tournament. Anyone's interested?
Is it this weekend?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's this Saturday. Yeah,
that caught me out because you know when you think January, you're like, that's in like 3 weeks, but it's not. It's not because of that Christmas. All right, so either I'm playing or we'll be good doing commentary. I'll be finding out after this. So I'll do some last minute organising for this Saturday.
Last minute organising, that's your secret skill, isn't it? If you was like a superhero, it's like getting shit together at the last minute. The
my only
Roblin.
skill. Yeah, that would be my number one trait. So either I'll be playing in that event, or we'll be doing coverage from that event. I'd like to do some coverage, so that might be this Saturday. We have a day of coverage from an Age of Sigmar event on TTS, but at least it'll be something, and we'll have a good old laugh as a group. So if you are excited about that, please do listen in and tune in. Yeah.
I've just thrown a few links in the chat there if anyone would like to join. There's also the link for the Gold Corner for any Aussie players who wanted to pick up a ticket there. But yeah, we're at 36 players and we are skimming off the best. We've talked about it previously, but we're skimming off the top performing factions. So there is going to be no Lumineth Realm Lords, no Seraphon, no Nurgle. Surprisingly, they had a really good year with all the cheap Blight Kings. There's also going to be no Seraphon, no Tzeentch, no Nurgle, and a couple of others that I can't remember. I haven't written it down, but yeah. Anyway, it's all in the pack. So there's lots of people excitedly there writing lists, so that'll be fun. And that's it, really. That's what's coming up.
Okay, all right. Well, that's exciting. Looking forward to events in the future. Looking forward to events next year. Looking forward to us. We're going to try and now. There's a little bit of a weird situation. Normally, I break the stats. This is how I do it. I break the stats up. Me and LLV break the stats up after the Winter FAQ. Obviously, Winter FAQ is now a fable. It is a myth once spoke of in legend. Yeah.
It whispers on the wind. That's what we have.
We hear rumours and follies. So I might just start it at the beginning of this year. Normally, I like delineate, so 6-month period. So probably start of this new year. So we might try and start actually produce some stats as of, we won't do it after the first week, but after a couple of weeks or whatever, and get all that stuff. And then we should be able to put some numbers up for you guys as well, which will be super fun. So yeah, very much looking forward to that as we open up into next year. Okay, sweet. So the awards, ladies and gentlemen, for different different sections this year. So me and Owen looked at. We've each gone away on our own, and we've looked at different army books that released this year. Just remembered Tzeentch was an army book this year, literally just before the show started. I was like, oh fuck yeah.
Nothing good in there, Rob. I wouldn't worry about it, mate.
No. And so we're not gonna. I think what I'm gonna do is I might put up a tweet from the Honest Wargamer maybe later, because one of the things I haven't done is the unit of the year. So we might do unit of the year, but I think there's so many options in there. I might just let everyone go wild on Twitter, stick it in the Discord, all that other stuff, and then we'll collate it and we'll have a chat about it next week, which will be super fun. So we've talked about the army list of the year, the command ability of the year, the spell of the year, command trait of the year, the artifact of the year, and the war scroll ability of the year. So I just think we'll do maybe the lists at the end.
Owen,
why not? If that's cool with you. And we'll start with command ability of the year. Now, I think me and Owen have pretty much. We talked about this off air. I think we've gone along the same premise, which is the most impactful stuff of the year. But we might not have. So we'll see. I'm going to jump out, Owen, with the first one, if you don't mind. Big nominee, the Kevin Costner of command abilities has to be Parting Shot.
Yeah.
Right up there, gold plated. Now this isn't like the People's Awards. This isn't like the coolest guy, the snappiest dress. This is the crushed their opponents award. So Parting Shot. Which is basically an ability at the end of the enemy's charge phase. You can choose one skink or a comedian skink unit holding 18 inches of a friendly hero, and then they can shoot. And on a 4+, that unit can retreat. So you definitely get to shoot. And then, you definitely get to shoot, but on a 4 you get to run away.
Yes, yeah. And you can't run, but if it's a turn 1, they've got a free 11-inch move out of dodge. And if it's not, then it's an 8-inch move, which generally just gets you the shit away from whatever's charged you. And it feels terrible. I don't know if anyone else has experienced this. It's pretty
Man
impactful.
of the year.
Right?
Yeah, man of the year. Did you also put this in your top 3?
It was in there, and then I decided to go for some others as well.
So what's the next one you got?
The next one I've got. But I do think that's a pretty solid. I think the amount of games anyone who's played against Seraphon this year, Fangs of Sotek, as we've just seen in that the Geelong tournament, Fangs of Sotek with a winning list.
And this is the command ability you get for being fans of Sotek.
Yeah.
So it can't be understated. Listen, I get it. You can reroll ones against certain units if you play as a Gargant. I mean, that's good. Like, don't get me wrong. But this is arguably way better.
Yeah, shooting 80 times, potentially with mortal wounds on 6s, and you've got all the buffs laid on you already, and you've got a fucking Scrooge McDuck style mountain of command points to spend. It's kind of like in the ecosystem of the Seraphon book, it's like, yeah. Whereas in other books, it's like, shit, I need to keep that CP for the other thing I want to do. Have I just gone a bit digital? I haven't gone a bit digital.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
Cool. Sweet. My first pick is from the Lumineth Realm Lords book, and it's from the Sire faction, and it's the Deplete Reserves. So it's the double drop.
Double drop.
It's the double drop, baby. So basically,
you can't use it twice on one unit. You can normally with the Aether Quartz Reserve for Lumineth, they can only use it once on a single unit per phase. Correct. So, like, normally each unit only has one, and per phase, the whole army can only use one. However, with this command ability...
Yeah, it allows you to use a second Aether Quartz, and there's no condition by where you can't use it on the same unit. So, for example, you don't deploy very well with Techless, and you get alpha struck by Caradron Overlord shooting. You can go to a 2-up save rather than a 4-up save because you can use it for +1 save.
I thought it was written. It was just you could use it twice and like on two, like once the phase and once on a different unit. But you can actually use it twice on the same guy.
Yeah, baby.
That's brilliant. That's why it's got the award. That's why it's got the awards. That's why it's there.
It's the flex. Like it's the flex it gives you is pretty massive. Like when you're, when you've got your unit of wardens and they go to a 2-up save rather than a 4-up save, and the fact you can just switch it on as and when you need to. So yeah, Deplete Reserves would be one of my command abilities of the year.
Depletes my emotional reserve, tell you that. Okay, it's my other command. My next command ability of the year was the Trove of Old One technology. Don't know.
Wow.
If that's what. Oh yeah.
Talk to me.
It's Bastillons can shoot twice.
Ah, okay, nice.
That's its name. Yeah, and that again, like I'm sorry to pick two Seraphon ones, but it's obviously also a brilliant command ability. Basically defines that subfaction. Arguably defines a meta in of itself. If you can. Knowing you're like, I'll take a bunch of demon heroes. And it's like, what about if you face up against these Bastillodons? It's like, no. So it's really good.
Yeah, it's nuts. I played against that, and over a double Bastillodon, I think they put out like over 70 shots because they're 9 shots apiece, and then they shoot twice. Yeah, that's 36 shots, and then they double you, and it's 72 shots with 2 damage. It's like, wow. It basically makes the Bastillodon not really useful in any other subfaction, does it? You just go Thunder Lizards, double shoot, and then suddenly you've doubled the output, which is amazing.
Absolutely. And it's the core of, and it's because it's generic command ability as well. It's not tied to a unit. You can be really clever about what you put there, how you affect it. Are you going to do a burning head near it? Like, there's so many conversations about it. But like Owen said, like, it's over a double turn, it's 72, but over a game, like, it's a lot. Like, it's a lot of output, and so it's massive, and it takes something that was scary into the stratosphere, ultimately. For not a lot of investiture, really. You're just there being stronger, ultimately. And like you say, you can mount the command points. It's just really, really, really good. So yeah, super strong. Super strong. Have you got a third one?
Yeah, my next one is quite a new one, but I do think that it's opened up a lot of possibilities, and we haven't seen its sort of full impact on the sort of meta. It's Worship Through Bloodshed from the new Marathi Kane War Scroll. So it gives you the wholly within 24 inches a unit can shoot or fight in the hero phase. So that's where you're seeing these, 20 blood. I want to say sisters, the shooty snakes.
Yeah.
It's created all manner of different builds. You see people taking. We saw that list, the Corey's list, where he had the 20 shooty snakes, and he had Lao Shan to move in the hero phase and then potentially shoot or double fight. And when you then tie it in with the Slaughter Queen's orgy of slaughter, I want to call it. She's got a command ability which allows you to fight in the hero phase. And as we know, anything that you can do, any activations you can do in the hero phase are super impactful. So yeah, worship through bloodshed. I think that really opens up a lot more possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so good, isn't it? Ultimately. It gives a lot of options. I mean, it existed already before, right? It's just been clarified. I think that command ability was already on whatever it is. It's good. Anyway, basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. I don't have a third one because I forgot the Zeke book existed. So
I've got one more for you, and you know
Please,
more about this
you.
than me.
Yeah.
It's Unmatched Conquerors from the Wrath of the Everchosen book. Now, I think strictly speaking, Wrath of the Everchosen might have come out at the back end of 2019, but it's sort of seen as a book from this year because we haven't really had an opportunity to play with it. So yeah, it's Unmatched Conquerors, which is where you roll a dice for every model in a target unit, and on a 3-up, they don't count towards the. And you love that.
Definitely in my top 3. That's my favorite one. Yeah, that's right up there. Yes, Unmatched Conquerors from the Wrath of the Everchosen book on the Knights of the Empty Throne, isn't it? Sub-Allegiance. So good. So good. Yeah. So good. Yeah, that's really good.
Huge impact. Yeah, on the game if you get that off. But
I don't know if it has a huge impact on the meta though. Like ultimately, it's a fun one. It's like sneaky, but I don't know if it it'll win games, but I don't know if it defines the meta.
No. That's fair. But it's
great.
And it's a good talking point. I figured, it does something else. We've never seen anything like that before, right? Have we? So
no, we haven't. Actually, that's why one of the command traits I've chosen is specifically because that. Not that I think it's overly good, but being able to find stuff that's unique is quite interesting. So obviously, don't forget we've just chosen stuff from this year. Okay, so spells, Owen.
What do you think? Do you want to call a winner there? Do you want to call a winner? It's up to you.
I mean, what's our? It's got to be parting shot, right? I think
so. Yeah.
If it's the champ ability, it's parting shot. I think is the one that's up there. It's unarguably so good, so good. Yeah. I mean, just to shoot, it's just you shoot. Even if it didn't have the 4-up run away, which is brilliant, but just the shoot is enough. The 4-up and then also run away makes it just horrific. It makes your charge phase redundant, your movement phase, all the buffs you've done previously redundant. In fact, actually, take away the shooting, the 4-up run away, probably it still wins.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a proper hobby killer, that one. If you turn up with your combat army and every time you shoot, you charge your opponent, then they piss off and shoot you, and then they get the turn, and then they shoot you again. It's fuck. Yeah, it's a real shit sandwich, that one. Yeah. So yeah,
that's the winner.
Yeah.
So parting shot, congratulations, you're the winning command ability of 2020. DJ Batman, thanks for subscribing, baby. And I'm a good demon honest. Merry Christmas to you too. Hope you're well. Right. So spells. Have you got your first spell?
Yes, it's the Total Eclipse.
Oh, my first spell was Total Eclipse.
Again, I've played quite a lot of Warhammer this year, obviously, admittedly on TTS, and when they go, Total Eclipse on a 10, that's just a heart sink moment, isn't it? Because it basically just stops your army doing what it wants to do. I remember one game with Archeon Khorne, and to auto run 6 so that I got an objective, and to re-roll a double 1 charge on Archeon, who was 3 inches away from his target, that cost me 4 command points. So, and Archeon gets you an extra 1 every turn anyway. So if you're not in that position, I mean, it used to be you'd think, Catacross or Kurdos, you nick the command point, but it's not even targeted to a specific hero. It's just every command ability you want to use from any hero on your army costs 2, and you
Yeah.
say, okay, it's casting value 8, but when he just automatically does it on a 10, yeah. So yeah, it's not a spell of the year because I like it. It's spell of the year because it's so impactful.
This isn't.
Yeah.
Don't imagine this is like, again. It's not a People's Choice Award. This is the Olympics. Yeah. This is like, these are the Russians just absolutely filling themselves with steroids. Yeah, and then running like 100 meters in 5 seconds with blade legs. Yeah, they're just like all the way, rocket up their ass. They're going. So yeah, Total Eclipse. Outrageous, yeah, and good comparison, Owen. You compare it to like Kurdos or Kakatro. Oh my god,
That guy, yeah,
that guy.
Catacross,
Catacross, just stealing one on a 5-up, making you definitely spend them, is wild. So really strong. All right, my first one. So I already picked that with you, so we're on the same page. My first one is again Lumineth. But it's actually the Hessian Twin Stones. So an endless spell. Again, like we've talked a lot about magic dominance all year. How dominant the magic phase is. How like people like Teclis have gone in. But actually, Hessian Twin Stones means Teclis, like it bumps an army up to like a dumb level of spellcasting army wide. And when everyone's a wizard, that's pretty oppressive because it feels very reliable when you've got other units just like rolling just a pair of bones and just like living their best life. Yeah, like a whole army just doing that is nuts, and it's so strong. And actually, we haven't seen. I don't think we've, other than like Bridge, which is obviously loads of points now. We haven't seen something that really massively affects an army. It doesn't affect. Normally, something affects a unit or it affects one thing. This is army wide, so it's just wild, right?
Yeah, and I think it gives the Lumineth player even more flexibility because they don't need to take like Zytrek, which is your sort of spellcasting magic heavy subfaction. It allows you to take Sire, so you get your double dip Aether Quartz and the best command trait in the book, in my opinion, but more on that later. It allows you to step outside of the part of the book that really buffs the magic and get the other benefits of the book, but still have that casting buff. And it buffs all of the units who want to get off their Power of Hish, right? You know, Teclis is all well and good auto casting 4 on a 10, but it's all the other units getting Power of Hish or potentially, you know, getting that the portals up to allow Teclis to do the Technado. It just gives more security and efficiency for the casting. So yeah, I agree. Nice. Yeah,
really good. Yeah, super strong. What's your next one?
Well, it's been on his War Scroll for a while, so it's not new to this year, but the book came out this year. So this is Kairos Fate Weaver's Gift of Change.
Oh, it's a great spell. Spell.
Yeah. I just think it's I've seen somebody gift. So Gift of Change. I've got the book here. Basically, it's only an 18-inch range, so you often see it put through the portal. But it allows you. Here we go. Casting value of 8. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within 18. The unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the Gift of Change value, which starts at a flat 6. So flat 6 mortal wounds. Just pick off a War Chanter. Pick off a Branch Wraith, as if you'd see one of those. But you know, pick off your 5.
You can hide though, Owen, because you're in a forest, so you need line of sight.
Yeah, but then the Kairos flies, so he can see
I
me.
knew. I already knew that. I just wanted to hear you say it.
So yeah, you do flat 6 mortal wounds, lovely jubbly, and then if something dies, then you get a little Tzeentch Chaos Spawn. So I've seen a game this year where what was it? Yeah, it was like a Saurus Guard unit got walloped, and which was next to Croak, and then up popped a little Tzeentchian spawn, and it did 3 wounds to Croak because it popped up right next to him. But more importantly, it will tag in a whole army of like a shooting unit. You know, talking of your Lumineth, imagine killing 6 Sentinels in a unit of 20 and turning one of them into a spawn. And they haven't necessarily got a great deal of output in the combat phase to free themselves. So it would then mean that Teclis has to put lots of magic into that spawn to free up the Sentinels unit to be able to shoot. Some armies just don't have the output in the hero phase to shrug off a spawn. So yeah, I think I've seen it be incredibly impactful in a lot of games, picking off a whole Storm Fiend, for example, and then tagging in that Storm Fiend unit so it can't then shoot all of its stuff later in the game. Yeah, so Gift of Change is one of my spells of the year.
It's very, very good. Some comments in the chat. Volson, thanks for resubscribing. Big love to you. Merry Christmas. Razor Wolf says, listen to this, I'm starting to think Spell Portal needs to be more points. We all agree. Or just delete it from the game. Like, does it need to be there? Like, that's what I think. But yeah, it's really, really good. I once turned an Iron Jaw into a spawn, says Angle. I think that's good. And Gavin Woodrow asks, does no one remember Demon Rift? I think the big problem when you're playing against Lumineth is it doesn't matter what you cast it on. The detectors just be like, no, thank you. That's a no for you. You can't cast that spell. So it would be cool if you could do it, but you can't. So.
I think you missed the second part of Angle's story. If you read, I once turned an Iron Jaw into a spawn. Then the unit killed it and triggered smashing and bashing and kicked the shit out of me. So it doesn't always go right. I also had it where somebody turned my unit of Blood Reavers into a spawn, who I then killed, and it gave me the extra blood tithe, allowing Archeon to move in the hero phase and then move again and then wallop his whole army. So yes, it has to be used with caution, but if used in the right way, that Gift of Change is solid.
Strong.
Yeah.
Strong. Okay. So then, my this is both. Well, one of these spells has been on his War Scroll since inception, and in fact, actually in the last edition as well. But I've put these two spells together, although they arguably could be in their own. So this is Celestial Deliverance and Comet's Call. Now, Celestial Deliverance in of itself actually could probably take second place to Comet's Call. Comet's Call is probably the big one. The ability to just do global mortal wounds. And this isn't unique, but it's still very, very, very strong on such a positive caster. And the Celestial Deliverance is obviously a game-winning, game-changing spell in of itself. So they both obviously exist on Lord Croak's War Scroll. Game changers in of themselves. And, arguably Celestial Deliverance is only so viable because of how cheap Croak is. Once he starts to go up in points... although I've heard FAQ he's actually halving in points because he's not good enough yet. That's the plan.
Please, Rob. I don't want to play the game anymore if that's the case. By the way, Comet's Call was my third choice, so we're on the same page here. I think you're right.
Huge. Yeah.
And because they don't get low drop, then your opponent gives the Seraphon player the first turn, and then they've got that reach, right?
Yeah, they can just be like, I'm just going to do some global mortal wounds. What you can do about that? And it's like, wow. So ultimately, when you're playing against Seraphon, it's likely that most of your small support characters aren't making it into turn 3, and probably almost definitely won't be around for turn 4, and that's huge. They can normally do it because it's global as well. You don't have to be within a certain range, which means you can be outside that 30-inch unbind range. So it's not even you casting. It's I'm rolling well and you maybe can stop it. It's just I'm just rolling well. End of conversation. So it's such a good spell, so impactful. It's meta-defining as well. You always ask yourself, well, what's the point in having this or that character when it's going to just get close to one-shotted in some cases? And loads of other options. It's so good for loads of other little things as well. Chipping out a little 10-man screen, so maybe doing D3 mortal wounds into a little 10-man screen to give yourself a little space so you can whap some salamanders or some skinks in there. Start chipping away at units with low bravery that holding back objectives. Tearing a monster down 1 tier over a couple of turns. So many options available. It's just wild, right?
I think one other thing to note would be the fact that Croak tends to be on around +3 to cast because he's got +1 from his War Scroll, +1 from the Astro, and then +1 from the Sacred Asterism. And on a 10+, he gets to choose D6 units, so he's got a really high chance of getting those D6.
So that's so annoying as well because it's a 10+, not just a flat 10. He also gets all the pluses. So yeah, but massive. That's why it's in the award ceremony, right? Because it's just brilliant. But last I heard, Games Workshop was swapping Croak and the Realm Shaper engine. Every Seraphon player is taking him anyway, and he's just free for all Seraphon. Realm Shaper is now 320 points if you want to include it. Damn it. You can fix that spell if you require line of sight, says Cold Traps, to make the mortal wounds. Interesting. But it's super strong. You got any other spells you like, Owen?
I just wanted a kind of a special mention. I haven't gone. The three that I chose were the Eclipse, Gift of Change, and Comet's Call. But I think Darkness of the Soul from the Sinari Cathalar, her War Scroll spell, I think has to have a special mention. I watched a game where 40 Plague Monks did nothing for 3 turns because they just couldn't move. So yeah, that's basically where you target a unit within 18, and basically they have to roll under their modified bravery to move or do anything, shoot, fight, whatever. So basically it's like Bellacoring a unit. So if you've got low bravery, or even if you're brave, and obviously Lumineth have a significant amount of bravery debuffing mechanics, then yeah, that would be up there for me. I've seen some really some really impactful uses of that, and people using it along with all the bravery debuffs. So yeah, Darkness of the Soul would be my other sort of honourable mention or dishonourable mention. Yeah.
Theo Prudence put in a lovely little bit of tech in here, which I really like. Good anti-croak Comet's Call is a curseling in Host Arcanum. Uses the free unbind turn 1 to cast it back, and it's unbindable. And you can cast it back. That's a nice. I really like that. That's nice. That's really good. Yeah. Right. Okay. So good. So that's spells. Are we picking a top spell, Owen?
Oh, it's a tough call. It's a tough one. I think it's between Total Eclipse and Comet's Call, but I'll give you the final judgment on that, Rob.
I think it's got to be Total Eclipse. I mean, it's Total Eclipse. I mean, sometimes the mortal wounds don't really affect you. Depends on the tempo of your army. If your army's fast enough, Celestial Deliverance is obviously massive, but sometimes Horde armies tend to do quite well into it, so it's not overly a thing. But it could be. I mean, there's obviously a Horde clearance spell in Seraphon as well, which we didn't talk about. So they've got that. There's that nice pivot for Croak always, in that he can be like, I'm going to do elite damage in doing multiple Celestial Deliverances, but then he's also got the Horde Clearer, which is every modern unit on a 4+ takes a mortal wound. It just halves a unit in some situations.
Stellar Tempest. It's on a 5-up, but still super impactful. Yeah.
Really, really strong. Really strong. Yeah. But I think Total Eclipse is probably the one that's going to change the shape of the game. It's released this year as ultimately changed army lists. You can't really rely on command points. I think that's it's awful really to as a mechanic inside the game, but it's gonna massively change the shape of the game in loads of different ways. Even for that, you sat on that 1 CP because you gained it that turn, then you fail that very short charge, can't do it anymore. You used to be able to do it, not looking to stack command abilities or anything like that. It's massive. I mean, it even affects Idneth, which is good. Idneth have to really pump up their tempo early, because even stacking those command abilities in turn 3, which is the only way they play, literally no other conversation. That's the only way they play Warhammer. It affects them.
High skill cap.
No, that's not actually how we play. That's 100% it. Everything you say is so I'm gonna say Total Eclipse. I think anyone disagree? I think Total Eclipse is the big one.
Agreed.
Yeah. So wait, it posed my mind that anyone could possibly have thought Total Eclipse was anything but the most fun anti-fun thing ever. Says I agree. Haig now. Okay, good. So Total Eclipse wins that. So that's nice. They flipped it around. So now command traits. I've got one I don't think you'll have picked. If that's okay, go for that first. So my first one is Primordial Commander.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Yes.
But I know what it does. It's amazing, right? Hit me with it. So
it's +1 to the Undying Legions roll, which is if you take Legions of Chaos Ascendant or Loka, as we know it, you basically get 6+ DPR. This is now a 5-up DPR to unit wholly within 9 inches, I think. It might be 12. But you do it so it's a command trait on your general, and it's just brilliant because it means that general itself gets a 5-up DPR. So we've seen it go on Lords of Change quite often. So then you've got a Lord of Change now who's got his normal armor save and he's got a 5-up DPR. So basically it's turned into a Vermin Lord or something similar. So really good, really really strong. Love it. I think that's a great command ability in Legion of Chaos Ascendant. I'm big fan.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, you see that a lot on the Corruptor or something. Perhaps you saw the Corruptor pop up quite a lot in those local lists.
That was pre FAQ when you could double stack the DPRs, but you can't do that anymore. So I still think it's great now. I think the double stacking was good. I think it's still great now. Really interesting to see. And I like the whole Legion of Chaos Ascendant thing. Just gave you the options to move around generals a little bit. You could probably write some really fun, interesting mid-board lists with all that involved and just have a great time. So yeah, big fan of that. I think it's really good.
My pick for the command trait is Will of the Phantom Lord, which is the command trait, the mandatory one from Host Duplicitous. This is the reroll all casting and unbinding for a Tzeentch Demon Wizards wholly within 9 of the bearer of this trait, which we've seen used to great effect by those Tzeentch casting lists, right?
Mm-hmm. So good, so good. Yeah, so strong. Especially when they obviously can change the dice around, or lords change other stuff. They get pluses to cast. It's just makes that spell casting super reliable when they want to be super reliable. Yeah, really strong. I mean, Holy Within 9's nice because it gives them a bunker that you can try and attack. And normally, if you can get into that Tzeentchian bunker with all the wizards, you can just wipe them all out because they're made of paper or feathers. Actually, normally. Right into the bird's nest. That's what you are.
Yeah. Stealing all the eggs.
Hey, Hawkeye. Big love to you. I hope you're well. Ultimately, that's a great one. That's a great one. I think that's way better than Private Audio Commander. So I've got a couple of others. So one is KO. So opportunistic privateers. So the general must take this. The Sky Vessel and the general in can. So this is if you're in Barak Mornar as well. So this is not Ziflin. This is Mornar. The general, the Sky Vessel the general is in. It can redeploy anywhere on the board more than 9 inches from the enemy before the first battle round, but can't move or disembark that turn. So you can get quite low drops with KO, not super low, but quite low. And the ability to do that, I think, is quite interesting, especially because it's a pre-game movement. So, it's before whoever chooses to go first, which is really big, and then the choice. So you can drop off a whole bunch of dudes out of Sky Vessel. It gives you a great opportunity to alpha that's not a spell in a bottle sort of situation. It's quite cool. That's Barak Mornar. I think that's really strong. I don't think it's meta-defining, but I think it's just a very strong command ability that's super fun to play with, I imagine. You could do some pressure, just put a big boat out there. I spoke to... This appeared in AOS Tubbs' list, I think, last beginning or earlier on in the year when he went 5-0 with this list. And then one of the things that he talked about was how hard it was to take out an Ironclad, especially with a re-rollable save from using the Triumph that he has on the boat. So, and then obviously if you stack up all the different boat effects and upgrades onto the boat, it's super strong. So yeah, I really like that one. I think it's good.
Yep. My next choice is from the Lumineth Realm Lords book. There's a bit of a pattern developing here, Rob, isn't there? And there's not been that many books out, but and this is from Sire again, the subfaction that I feel is the best, and it's Goading Arrogance. Which is essentially at the start of the combat phase, the bearer of goading arrogance, or so it tends to be the Cathalar because of Teclis and Eltharion being named. Basically, they choose a unit within 6 inches, and that unit hero, and that hero has to attack the Cathalar. But 6 inches is such a long range. Effectively, I've had it whereby Archaon gets picked, and the Cathalar sat behind a screen of dudes, and basically it means that Archaon can't fight. Yeah. Because he's not within 6 inches of the Cathalar. So it's a great way of shutting down those big, powerful heroes. So Frostlord on Stonehorn, Archaon. I was going to say Bloodthirster, but you'd laugh at me.
No, I mean, you brought up an interesting point. If we were doing an award for best meta pick, it would be Archaon. He'd be number one top at the minute. I think it's one of the most. I was thinking I might do a kind of refresher course in January. I might do a short video. Hey, have you taken 10 months off because of COVID? Welcome back to Age of Sigmar. Here are things you need to know.
That's good. Yeah, out of the bunker into the meta.
What does it look like out here? Well, command points are useless. Yeah, all your characters are dead on turn 2, and eels are better. Welcome back. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's a super strong command trait. So my pick for a command trait this year, which I think is interesting, but that's only because I'm also obviously 40k aware as well, is one from the Mega Gargants book. Look at me. Very acquisitive. Very acquisitive is the command trait, which is you get 2 artifacts instead of 1, and your general can carry 2 artifacts. So, right, now that in of itself isn't particularly good because the artifacts, well, it's good, but the artifacts you can have, like whatever, they're pretty shit. But one of the things that we've seen in 40k, or something that they've put into 40k, is you can normally buy more than 1 warlord trait, which is their version of command traits, and also you can buy more than 1 artifact as well. So they sometimes have characters running around with 2 warlord traits and 2 artifacts. So imagine a character right now in the game with 2 command traits and 2 artifacts, and try and build a bear your best version of what that might look like. And if this is something, so this is the first time I think we've seen this put into Age of Sigmar. Now it could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain it's the first time we've seen it. And if this becomes something that, like, it makes sense. See, that makes me very excited for something like a Dispossessed book, right? Mm-hmm. Because Dispossessed obviously don't have a lot of magic, but they're such good artisans. So I love the idea that you might be able to take, like, 2 artifacts on, like, a Dispossessed, like, fucking character, or, you know, anything like that. That sounds really fun. So I think that's a really good command trait, or a really fun command trait this year, because it gives us some indication of some fun shit we might see in the future. It's not particularly good in where it's put, but it's a cool little thing. I don't know. Would you feel about?
No, I like that. I do really like the idea of like the build a bear element in terms of having the opportunity to you could go with 2 artifacts. You could go Incandescent Rage Blade for exploding 6s, and then you could put reroll hits on it or something from the 2 realm artifacts. But similarly, you could flex and make it a real tank. So you could go play at perfection, ignore -1 rend, and then the reroll saves artifact. So yeah, I do really like the opportunity to sort of build your hero to do a very specific role. I like that. But I don't think they'd be running around, Rob, because they'd be really weighed down with all this stuff, wouldn't they? They'd be like,
well, what if one of them was great running shoes? That could be the other artifact.
Yeah. I like it. Icarus's boots or something. Or did he have wings? I don't know. I'm not the right person for that. I've got one final one if you like, Rob, and you're going to kick yourself because you didn't choose this.
Oh, okay.
This is from but it's from that bloody Tzeentch book, which yes, this is Spell Hunters from Host Arcanum. So I think we've seen again players such as Casper on the Hammer Time coverage using the Spell Hunters. So this allows D3 units who fly to have a 6-inch pre-game move. Obviously leaning into what you were talking about there with Barrett Mornar, pre-game moves. Like if you ain't got no pre-game moves, you're missing out, because it allows them to have a 6-inch move. So I've seen Kairos move 6 inches forward and then get his portal's Gift of Change off. We've seen Archeon fly forward and then get to move, so it puts him up to a 20-inch move rather than a 14-inch move. 6 inches is makes quite a difference, so I hear.
Me too.
So Spell Hunters from the Host Arcanum in the Tzeentch book would be another pick for the top command trait on my behalf. Yep.
Agreed. If you guys have just joined us, by the way, just for everyone, what we're doing is we're doing an end of the year awards show. We're picking different categories, and we're giving us a different a suggestion for what we think is the pick of the year from army books, only from this year. So that's what it is. We've just done command traits. Owen, do you want to pick one of these? I think you picked the best one, arguably.
I think I'll go Spell Hunters, the last one. I think
really?
I've seen that.
The D3 move.
Yeah, I think you were going to say Will of the Phantom Lord, though, right? The re-rolling of the casting.
I think so, yeah.
I think in the right build with all that unbinding and with all that fate point generation that you've seen. Like I've seen, a free unit of 10 pinks in 2 turns, which is pretty savage. Okay, I changed my mind. I concur.
You don't have to.
No, mate, I think being able to change your mind on something is a show of strength. So, Will of the Phantom Lord from the Host Duplicitus within the Zine book. Command Trait of the Year.
Well, I agree with you. I think that's the strongest. The one I'm most excited about is that very acquisitive command trait. I think there's lots to say there. I'm very, very pumped for what that might be in the future. But yeah, I agree with you. Okay, so artifact. You're the bet. Like, sweet. It's okay. This is like, I don't know what this is. This is like when Lord of the Rings made their movie. Every other movie was like, that's cool. You get the Oscar, I guess. This is
Yeah.
Or John Wick.
So Hawkeye, take that back. I have nothing to do with Boris. Owen channeling is in a Boris Johnson with the U-turn.
Hawkeye's decided he's only going to talk shit in the chat today.
He's a spicy boy today, isn't he?
Yeah, so you're right, Hawkeye. Big love to you. Hope you're well. Merry Christmas.
Marcus Fox called it. I mean, should we come back?
Called it.
Should we come back to other honourable? So we come back to Spell in a Bottle, and we'll just do a couple of honourable mentions.
Spell in a Bottle wins other honourable mentions. Yes.
What would be your first honourable mention, Rob?
Fourfold Blade.
Nice. Yeah, that's a solid pick. Love it.
Yeah. So it's a melee weapon. It's from Legion of Chaos Ascendant. Unmodified hit roll of a 5+. Inflicts D3 mortal wounds. It's pretty cool. It takes a choppy character like we saw Vermin Lord Corruptor. He's got 10 attacks. I always put it on the contorted epitome. Nailed it. Thank you. 10 points. Because he also has got a shit ton of attacks as well. So it's super fun. So yeah, really, really cool, and just makes you have a bit of a blender character, which is nice again. So yeah, big fan of that.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, on the Corruptor because he's got the reroll hits command ability as well. So you fish. I've seen people do like 20 mortal wounds in one go, which always feels good. I will go for the Phosphorite Bomblets from the Caradron Overlords book.
It's a boat effect, isn't it?
It's not. It's on a little lad. It'd be great if it was on a boat, actually. But yeah, it's on I believe you can only put it on a chemist, so you don't see it that often because everyone takes Spell in a Bottle. But the bomblets, 6-inch range, once per game, pop out the bomblets. So he's got a big sack. Basically, pick a unit, 2-up, mortal wound. Just keep fucking tossing them till you don't roll a 2-up. So you could just go mental. I'm pretty sure there used to be a Bone Splitters artifact, which was similar, like a mask that did it. Oh, there we go. On an Endrin Master, Marcus is saying. So yeah, basically just Oprah Winfrey the shit out of it.
Bomblet for you, bomblet for you, bomblet for you.
So yeah, that would be right up there. It's a great little artifact that you could just blow up a whole unit.
Okay. So that's a really great one. Super fun one as well. Yeah. Super fun one. All right, that's good. I like that. My next one is the Cloak of Feathers.
Yes.
Yeah, you add 4 inches to the bearer's move characteristic, and you're like, that's great. And then it's like, subtract 1 from hit rolls as well. Also wild as well. And obviously we've seen this used to great effect on Skink Chiefs on a Stegodon.
Yes.
So -1 to hit Stegodon that's moving extra 4 inches. So very, very good.
Ooh, and they fly? And they fly? Because they're feathers?
They fly. Yeah, and it gives them fly. I was about to say that. So, I mean, great opportunity for modelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just in of itself, 6 and wings on a Stegodon would look stupid.
Yeah, it would look ridiculous. I think that's the epitome. Like, that basically encapsulates the whole of the Seraphon book in one artifact. It's like, we're going to give them this. Oh, fuck, we'll give them this as well. And, oh, hold on, we got this going spare. We'll put that in as well. So, it's like, we'll just give them it all. But yeah, I think I've come up against that flying bad boy, and he's a bit of a terror. The old flying steg.
Yeah.
Also, he can see into my bloody wildwoods now, can't he? With his stupid bow. It's
a great unit. A flying Stegodon has got a bow. It's really, really good. Really, really good. So yeah, love that. That's a great artifact. Yeah. Have you got a third one?
So my third one, which before we get to the obvious winner, this is from the Wrath of the Everchosen book, the Knights of the Empty Throne, the Grasping Plate. Now, I think we will see this a lot. So get ready to be grasped, because this gives the Knights of the Empty Throne hero Varangard unit a 6-inch pile-in. But it's not the shit 6-inch pile-in, it's the good one. It's activate from 6. So it gives them crazy range. They can pile in and attack twice, once per game. So it gives them a 6-inch pile-in each time. I think that 6-inch pile-in from the plate really pushes that Varangard build right up into the top tier. I'm sure you'd agree, Rob. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Really, really, really strong. But all of them notable mentions next to the Terror of the Skies, the spell in a bottle artifact.
Yep.
You win. Congratulations. Take it away, boys. I tell you what, furiously, there's some guy, I don't know who it would be, I imagine some sort of engineer who's just like in his factory, just like it's hard pressed to know what they're more of in the world. Spell in a bottles or those goop eggs that you get from
I think they're running out the glass factory over in Barrack, whatever.
I actually have heard that the glass that they use for a goop egg, and if you haven't researched that or know what it is, please go look up the goop eggs. The glass that they make spell in a bottle with is from the same glass.
Oh wow, okay.
Same
Nice.
glass. Goop glass, whatever it is. So, final category of the award show goes to War Scroll Ability of the Year. Owen, do you want to kick us off? Because that's my first one.
Yeah, I'm going to start from what would be seen more as a little bit of a fringe one, not necessarily up for winning, but certainly something that I think moving into 2021 is going to help a lot of the Idnath Deepkin armies, which is the Eidolon of Mathlan aspect of the Storm, drenched with hate. So he's gone from having reroll ones to wound to +1 to wound aura, which is scary good, right?
Yeah, very good. Very strong. It's a really good one. That's a really, really, really good one. Owen, you're going to kick yourself you didn't choose my first one.
I know what it's on my list. You go for get off me land, aren't you?
Get off me land. Yeah, that's my first one. Get off me land. So the Gargant kick. Whether you love it, whether you hate it, who knows? But I mean, it's a cool ability to have on the War Scroll. I don't think, like, emotionally thinking about it, I don't think I love the ability to move objectives around. I don't think that's very good inside the game. I would have preferred to seen them be able to like kick terrain, maybe, or something else. I don't know. But ultimately, it's there. It's cool. It's going to have an effect on games. It's very unique. It's a big deal. So yeah, that's a good one. That's right up there. Yeah. That's super. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to change the shape of the game. I don't know what you think.
I mean, it really does when you play Battle for the Past or Total Commitment or any mission whereby the number of points you or your opponent can score is based on the location of that objective. So, Battle for the Past, turn 1, roll a 6/6, yeet it right into the middle of the board. Suddenly, the Gargant player, their objective that was in their home territory isn't worth 1 anymore, it's worth 2. And their opponent...
So I just realised on focal points, when he kicked it from his own and it was worth 1.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's still worth because it doesn't matter. That's fine.
But no, there are. I mean, on Battle for the Past, it's just like it's not even worth playing the game really if they get the kickoff, because it's suddenly your opponent can't score 4 points for getting the home objective. They could only score 2 because it's in the midfield, and heaven forbid they kick it into their own objective. They can basically, imagine if they had the perfect turn. Is only 1 per turn allowed to do it, or are they all allowed to do it? Okay, good. Yeah, because otherwise, imagine kicking all 4 objectives into your opponent and they can only score 4 points and you can get 16. I mean, you may as well quit at that point. Yeah, but get off the land. And yeah, it's pretty, It again, much like Total Eclipse, for example, it just does something that hasn't been seen in the game before. So yeah, super impactful.
Yeah, really good. Really, 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 really good. Have you got a third one? I guess it's third for you. I've got 2 more. Do you want me to jump on?
Yeah, jump on one because I've got 1 left, but I'm sure that we may both have this one. But you, Well,
this one makes me sad, and I hope you can also feel the sadness that I'm trying to emotionally transfer to you. Yeah,
okay, ready.
It's emotional transference. That
Okay.
is the ability.
Nice. I love it. Well done. God, you even had me there.
So that is the War Scroll ability that you find on the Catalathar. That
Just call it
character,
Kath.
Kath, the
Yeah.
lady from the Lumineth Realm Lords, who is sad. The ability to make other units battle shock instead of making their own units battle shock is outrageously good. Game changing, super good. Emotional transference is what it's called. You can look it up on your phone app right now on the Age of Sigmar app. It's just 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, the emotional transference. So yeah, really, really good. Got any thoughts on it, Owen?
Yeah, again, if you just think about it in the ecosystem of the Lumineth book overall, lots of bravery debuffs, lots of ways of like maybe one unit of 20 sentinels picking off a couple of models from a couple of units and then transferring all the battle shock onto them, and then they all just piss off. And if anyone hasn't, I did a little bit of story time with Adam Mumford and Matt Mallow the other day, and I read them the lore of that ability. And yeah, she ain't no sort of like sad emo girl. Like
She is.
she's a true yeah, she's a horror. Yeah, the lore of it is that their opponents start off being like a bit mystified and confused, and then it then escalates into them raking out their own eyes and tearing off their own skin and fighting between themselves. Yeah, it's savage. It's really savage. Yeah, so yeah, it's huge. Another layer of horribleness that you have to fight through when you're fighting that book. And my last one, I'm not sure if you've got this, but this ties in very much with Parting Shot, is the good little skink star priest and his
Oh,
serpent staff.
I don't have this. Yeah.
So holy within 12, don't have to roll any dice, just do it because the lizard said so. Mortal wounds on 6s to wound.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, I think the major problem, if we're allowed to describe it as a problem, I think one of the major issues ultimately with that ability is the fact that it's just you. There's no resource. Just do. Not cast a spell. Don't do a prayer. Don't. The only highlight I think is that's the minion ability, right? Which is that the minion
Yes.
ability one? Which
Ooh,
is
I'm
the
not sure.
well, I can find out right now. Skink Star Priest, right? Let me just go
Oh,
find
yeah.
it because it's worth just taking a moment on it because that's the only thing that's got me excited about that ability, because nothing else will ever make me Skink Star Priest, Serpent Staff. Oh no, it's not. This isn't the one that's the minion ability. It's the guy on the cloak of feathers, isn't it? The Skink Priest that's got a minion ability. All right, never mind. No, there's no
It
goodness
just
to it.
makes it, yeah. It just, I mean, Stuart in the chat's put book defining ability, and yeah, I mean, if you can't, it creates such a horrible decision for you that if you do have any reach and you want to reach out and kill something, it's like, do you go after the skinks or do you go after the little hero? Because even all the summoned units of skinks that you bring on, they can then get the little buff. And 80 shots, they can get them +1 to hit, re-rolling ones. So they're on, I think it's 4s, re-rolling ones on 80 shots is quite a lot of hits, and then 6s to wound. I mean, a unit's going to do maybe 7 to 10 mortal wounds, something like that, from their shots. Yeah, it's just horrible. And because there's so much skink keyword going around everywhere, they can put it on pterodons. You can put it on salamanders if you want to be a real troller. But yeah, on a massive block of 40 skinks, it's just yeah,
It's a
horrid.
lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. No, I agree. Yeah, and it is so good. So good. My last one is new. It's new, brand
Okay.
new. The ability is called Entangled. From an Alapex. You shoot a shot. You shoot your shot. That's what you do. You shoot your shot and you hope. And if you get your shot off, then it means the unit that you're shooting at cannot pile in 3 inches. Brand new to the game, but ultimately massive, I think, in its effect. I'm not sure it's like game breaking. I don't think it's that in that category, but I think it's like very, very strong and gives another tool set to an army that really wants that tool set. And is great. So yeah, really, really good. So that's found on the Alapex Sharks right in their Thiepkin, and it's the special ability from there then Restarius Net Launcher.
Ritarius Net Launcher.
Restarius Net Launcher.
Yeah,
that thing. Yeah.
I think it could, and I think on the subject of like looking at things that will help define the meta, etc. I think that would genuinely make Fire Slayers players not want to take Fire Slayers to a tournament.
Agreed.
Because tagging the end of their unit and not allowing them to pile in when they want to double pile in, it's going to really make people have a bad day.
I like the counteracting ability though between grasping plate and the net launcher. And it's like you can't pile in, or you can't pile in 3 inches?
Oh, you just can't pile in.
Oh, never mind then. Ignore me forever. But yeah, so a lot of stuff. We need an award for that. Owen, you get to choose this War Scroll ability. What do you think? What do you think's the big one?
I think the Skink Star Priest Serpent Staff is amazing, but it's kind of like it's not like it's the one thing in the book that makes that book really strong. Whereas I think I'd like to give it to the Kraken Eater Mega Gargant. We've never seen anything like Get Off Me Land before, and it's hugely impactful on the game. And it actually is one thing that is contributing towards them putting some results together. I think. So yeah, let's give it to Get Off Me Land.
Get off me goddamn land. Yeah, agreed with you. Absolutely. Really, really good. Yeah. So that was the award ceremony. That was fun. Favorite unit of the year, Owen? What's your favorite unit of the year? You had time to off the cuff, but I'm going to ask the Twitch chat favorite unit of the year. It's going to be the one. It's a toughie. Favorite unit of the year. Ultimately, I do like Basildons got better. I'm not going to lie about that, but I hate having to understand how their armor save works. So that's not going to be the one for me. I think one of the things that I want probably, I don't know. I don't know if I could choose one. Ironically or not, you guys just choose. I'm
gonna go for. It's not the flashiest choice, but I think that for 120 points, the 10 what are they called? Venari Wardens. I don't think you can go wrong with them as the core unit that you have to take that slot really nicely into the battalion. I've seen 10 Wardens, or even like the block of 30 Alpha Strike double move, 30 Wardens, 3-inch range. I mean, there's a lot that you've seen in there that they've got D3 mortal wounds when they need to turn it on, and they've got 3-inch range, which is nuts on a battle line unit. They've got mortal wounds. They're a wizard. As something that you have to take, I think that I would say probably Wardens up there definitely. I wouldn't say it's my favourite, but it's a top pick for the year. Yeah.
I was going to say Dawn Riders. I really like what they did with the Dawn Riders War Scroll, where they do extra attacks or extra damage, versus what they're fighting. I know we've seen it before, on other things, like you've seen it on Namati Thralls and stuff like that. Like what they're fighting, they kind of change their profile. But I think doing something good with cavalry is something that they've struggled with a lot. So I think that's a good indication of stuff. But yeah, I think that was quite good, ultimately. A lot of people in the chat got opinions. Helgamar wants the War Shrine. Malk wants Croak. MJ Pegasus wants the Tree Lord. Bless him. Primitor says wants the Analon of the Storm. Holy Beast wants the Mega Gargants. That's what tells you 2020 was crazy. We need to choose between Skinks and Liberators for the best unit of the year. It's like we're going back to 2016. That's what we're doing. Well, Owen, I've loved doing the Stat Center with you this year. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We haven't chosen List of the Year, Rob.
Oh, for God's sakes, damn. Yes,
it's more
sorry.
like a list archetype of the year, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I've got a couple, but I mean, it
may
even lead...
I've got 3.
Okay, sweet. Well,
what's your first one?
First
one...
no,
do you want me to... Oh, go on.
No.
After you, sir.
Okay.
After you, sir.
So I'm going to say, we've talked about it a lot, but as an archetype, Lumineth Realm Lords, the 2-drop Aurelin Legion in Sire, Techless, Cathalar, Warden Sentinels, Portal, just solid as fuck, right? 2-drop.
Solid as fuck as a list. The Lumineth list I chose was actually the 80 Sentinels. Now, I don't think it 5-0's events, but I think it's a brilliant team list.
Agreed.
Which is a different kind of dynamic. So it's in my head because I'm like, no, it won't do great in singles. It will do good in singles. It could potentially even win a singles event, but it's not like what I would take. I would take what Owen just talked about, but in a polarized team matchup list. I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant's probably the wrong word, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yours is a good one. Absolutely. My big pick actually this year is I love what's happening with KO, Spell in a Bottle. I like that they've got some dominance, but I think that the Ziflin list isn't the right way to go, and it feels like the Spell in the Bottle is like such a linchpin for that, which is why I love AOS Tubbs's KO Mornar list from early on in the year. If you guys want to go listen to that show, that's got to be my list of the year. Like I get what is happening and why people are so pro the Ziflin list and so pro what's going on there, but I think everything that I heard Tubbsy talk about, the fact that then he talked about it and he proved it on the tabletop, went 5-0 in a very tough meta in New Zealand, lots of really good players there. So I think that's a really good KO list, and if you guys haven't listened to it, it would be my version of KO that I think I would want to play with at an event. So I think it's really, really good. So that would be my KO pick of the year, or my second, whatever. It'd be one of my lists of the year.
Cool. I'm going to say, again, I'm going to avoid the what I consider to be the list. This is some more honourable mentions. I really did like seeing all of the Legion of Chaos Ascendant lists, specifically, Corruptor, 12 Kadai. It really was a thing for a few months. You played it on the stream in the breakfast battles, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Speed, summoning, it can tank. Suffered for output a little bit, but when you put that fourfold blade on that Corruptor and he goes in and blends up a load of shit, and just the ability to mix and match all your demons, I just thought it opened up all manner of list writing opportunities. The Legion of Chaos Ascendant, 12 Kadai, maybe 20 pinks. You could chuck some flamers in there, maybe. With an old Gaunt summoner who could summon a free unit of 10 pinks every turn, which was savage. That would be
I also chose like the version of the list that was earlier on in the year. So I think Bill King Souza was possibly one of the first people putting that list together. I know Past ran it a lot as well early on in the year. So that's why I've written it down as Bill's Past local list. So same thing. I think that's one that stuck out to me. I mean, there's obviously some amazing archetypes. There's Change Host Flamers. There's Skink, the Skink build for Seraphon. That's an obvious one as well. And then we've had some standout amazing lists, like Stuart's list with the Guts. Boulderhead Ogres have done great all year as well, so they need a notable mention. What else has been kicking ass?
Blight Kings.
Blight Kings, sadly. Yeah. And now Eels. 60 Liberators redeploying, that's a whole thing. Then you have all the Sentinels, the list. You've obviously got all the Cockatrices, that's the thing apparently, unfortunately. So there's loads. There's been loads of great lists all year, loads and loads to mention. Did you get any more? Sorry,
I think the number one list they posted in the TTS tournaments that I tracked, lots of Fangs of Sotek lists did really well. I think a core of 80 skinks with Croak, and then everything else, and some small skink heroes, and everything else sort of flavor to taste. You're always left with that Fangs of Sotek list. You put in 80 skinks, Croak, and the heroes that you need, and then you're left with 500-600 points just to flavor it up how you want. Could it be Pterodons? Could it be Sallies? Maybe you go big on the bound endless spells. Maybe you go for another 40 skinks to just be a true
lots
troll.
Of 20 chameleon skinks.
Yes. Don't even. I'll never forget that moment. When I was playing with fucking Nagash and Catacross in the same list, and I had about 25 models, and then he just brought down 40 camos, he just did 80 shots turn one and hosed everything. We just left with two dudes. That's more on me for taking that list, but anyway, yeah. That would be that. I have to say, that would be my pick for the top, the most competitive, and the Terror of the Tabletop award goes to the Fangs of Sotek skinks.
Agreed. I high five that, salute it, and raise it up as to be please nerf me forever. Ultimately. So yeah, been really fun. been a really fun year. Looking forward to next year, see what you guys in the chat and everyone else in the world like kicks out as army lists. What new abilities we see, what other stuff we like. Yeah, just going to be really good, I think, ultimately. Rob's Doomwheel list all day. Fucking love them Doomwheels.
And we can't not mention the cockatrice list, Adam. Yeah, essentially that has now spawned into a real life army, and I think somebody else has bought it as well now. So yeah, that's I think it would be remiss to not mention that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, like, you know, there's loads of mentions like the Host Arcanum list with Archeon. Host
The new Thricefold.
There's some super fun lists, right? And like Hawkeye saying in the chat, it's been a wicked year. You know, we've all loved it. You know, there's been a couple of problems. You know, but you know.
Yeah, I've got a new consistent cough, but I'm just ignoring it. You know.
Oh, I really hope you don't. Please stay safe.
I don't. I'm being silly. That's not.
What are our wishes for the new year in terms of new army books? I think that might be something that we might do next week. Obviously, we'll have an event result to talk about and some other stuff, but there could be some stuff for the future. Owen, because we're done for time, we're going home. Well, we're not. I'm going to do some work, but we are done. So, Owen, thanks very much.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think it's really nice how this has developed over the year, and people seem to enjoy it. So cool, man. Let's keep it going. And
you guys are great.
If anybody would like to join my tournament at the weekend, they'd be most welcome. Don't be scared of TTS. It's just Warhammer. I'm going to put some links in the chat there now. Bosh. Till the next time we get to ramble about toy soldiers.
Which won't be long, hopefully. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year coming up soon. Everyone look after yourselves. Don't forget to join us tonight for the Sigmar show, where we'll be talking about our highlights from 2020. I imagine it'll be Nathan talking about his pants. And James saying something mean about corn. You guys have a great day. Thanks to everyone on Patreon. Thanks to everyone listening to the podcast. Please stay hydrated, drink loads of water. And thank you to everyone who joins us live. You're all great. Merry Christmas. See you soon. Goodbye. Fuck you, buddies.